It was supposed to be a celebration. But inside the candlelit dining hall of the Beaumont estate, the air felt colder than the winter night outside. The long mahogany table was set for 5 elegant women in gowns worth more than most people's homes, and one young man in a plain navy suit who looked like he had no business being there. His father, Gregory Beaumont, the kind of man whose name made business tycoons sit straighter, stood at the head of the table, swirling a glass of wine, smiling like he already knew how this night would end. "Ethan," Gregory's deep voice broke the silence, "tonight, you will choose your future. Your mother is gone, God rest her soul. And I am tired of seeing you waste your life on people who don't deserve you. So here are your options." He gestured to the 5 women, each a socialite, heiress, or model, their smiles sharp and practiced. "Choose one," he said, "and she will be your mother. My wife. She will take my place beside you when I'm gone." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Dad, this is insane." Gregory's smile faded. "What's insane is watching my only son throw himself into dead-end friendships, helping waitresses pay rent, giving money to strangers on the street while your own future remains unsecured. I am offering you stability. A family. Power." But Ethan wasn't listening anymore. Because at that exact moment, across the massive floor-to-ceiling windows, he saw her. A figure, half hidden by the snow, standing just outside the glass doors of the garden terrace. Her coat was thin, her hair wet from the storm, and her hands clutched something close to her chest. She wasn't supposed to be there. Gregory noticed his son's distraction and frowned. "Ethan?" But Ethan was already on his feet. He crossed the room, ignoring the murmurs behind him, and unlatched the terrace doors. The cold slammed into him like a wall. "What are you doing out here?" he asked. The young woman's lips trembled. I work in your father's kitchen. I wasn't supposed to come here, but," she glanced at the bundle in her arms. "It's my brother. He's sick. I didn't know who else to ask. They told me you were kind." Her voice cracked on the last word. Ethan felt something twist in his chest. She wasn't dressed for the weather. Her shoes were soaked. And the boy in her arms, barely 6 years old, was shivering violently. Behind him, his father's voice was sharp. "Ethan! Get back in here. Now." The 5 women were watching from the table, some smirking, others whispering. But Ethan didn't move. "What's your name?" "Lila," she whispered. Gregory was losing patience. "Ethan, don't embarrass yourself. That girl has nothing to do with tonight's decision." Ethan turned around slowly. "Actually, Dad, she has everything to do with it." The night spiraled after that. Gregory followed Ethan into the hallway, fury in his eyes. "You're telling me," Gregory said through clenched teeth, "that you're walking away from a secure life, 5 women from the finest families in the country, for some kitchen girl who can't even afford a coat?" Ethan looked him dead in the eye. "I'm telling you that you don't get to decide who matters to me." Gregory scoffed. "This is about your bleeding heart again. You think helping strays makes you noble? You're throwing away your inheritance for what? For pity." Ethan shook his head. "Not pity. Humanity. Something you lost a long time ago." The next days were chaos. Gregory froze Ethan's accounts. The press got wind of the scandal, spinning stories about the reckless heir who refused his father's wishes. But what the media didn't know was that Lila's little brother had pneumonia, and the hospital bills were crushing her. She had been working 3 jobs, sleeping 4 hours a night, and still falling behind. Ethan sold his car, his watches, even his apartment. He moved into a small rental and used the money to cover the boy's treatment. Lila tried to refuse, but Ethan simply said, "One day, you'll pay it forward. That's all I ask." Months later, a letter arrived for Gregory. It was from the hospital, a thank you note for a generous anonymous donation that had funded a new children's ward. In the attached photo, smiling in front of the building, were Ethan, Lila, and her now healthy little brother. Gregory stared at the picture for a long time. He remembered his own childhood, poor, hungry, and terrified, before money had hardened him. For the first time in years, he felt shame. A year later, Ethan walked into his father's study. Gregory had aged, the arrogance in his eyes was dimmer. "I heard about the new shelter you funded," Ethan said quietly. Gregory nodded. "You were right, son. Family isn't about power. It's about the people who would stand in the snow for you." Ethan smiled faintly. "So, who's the lucky bride now?" Gregory chuckled. "She's not rich, not famous, and she'll probably make me do the dishes. But she's the kind of woman who'd save a life before saving a penny." And for the first time in years, father and son hugged, not as billionaire and heir, but simply as two men who finally understood each other. Wealth can buy comfort, but it can't buy compassion. In the end, the richest choice we can make is to stand beside the people who'd stand in the cold for us.